Colleen Coble's 35 novels and novellas have won or finaled in awards ranging from the Romance Writers of America prestigious Reader Award, the Hope Medallion, the ACFW Book of the Year, Daphne Demure, National Reader's Choice and Booksellers' Best Awards. She writes romantic mysteries because she loves to see justice prevail and love begins with a happy ending. She's living the dream with a wonderful husband and 2 awesome kids, 3 grandkids. Cara Putman inhaled books as a homeschool teenager, even tried her hand at writing them, only to realize her dream of becoming an author many years later. Aside from writing 8 novels in 1.5 years, she's an attorney, wife, mom, women's ministry leader. Anything else? In her spare time, she serves as advisor to the ACFW Indiana chapter, and she was also on the board as publicity officer for American Christian Fiction Writers. Welcome, ladies.
We're glad to be here.
As you can tell, I've lost my voice. I'm actually getting it back, so. Yeah. Tell me, how did you first meet?
Well,
4 years ago.
She was just saying it was almost exactly. So.
Yeah, on April 2nd, 2005, I went to a book signing at my favorite local Christian bookstore, and Colleen and 2 of her buds, Denise Hunter and Diane Hunt, were there. And so I just discovered Colleen's books and loved them because of the blend of romance and suspense. And so I kept telling my husband, I have to go. And he kept looking at me like, okay, why is this so important? And it was only after the fact that we realized why it was so important, because that's how I met Colleen, and that's what God used to kind of be the catalyst for starting to write again.
And anybody that's in a room with Cara knows how she lights up the room when she walks in. And so she came over and we were talking, and her husband was kind of urging her to tell me what she wanted to do, which was write. And so, of course, when I found that out, we immediately started talking, and I encouraged her to start writing, and she sent me some chapters, and
Yeah.
I kind of was rough on her, but she took it well.
Yeah, we say she was the midwife to my first book. And she really was, because I'd give her updates. Okay, I got this many words written, and she was just always very encouraging.
And I'd say, keep at it, keep working.
Yeah.
So, Cara, what influence has Colleen had on your writing career?
She has just become a really good friend and always encouraged my dream. And it was one that I was very reluctant to share with anybody, because I just thought people go, oh yeah, who are you to write books? And Colleen turned around and went, oh, that's wonderful, and here's what you need to do, and here's who you meet. And I remember emailing her after that book signing going, oh, she'll never respond. And like 5 minutes later, I had a response. And it was just, I was like, okay, this could really go somewhere. And just that accountability, she's hooked me up with my agent, introduced me to so many people, and so it's just been wonderful.
She's an easy one to mentor because she listens. It's so often what I find is people that are trying to be a writer and working at a story, they don't listen very well. You know, they have it set in their head how they want something to run. They think they know it all, and often they just don't listen. But anytime I would tell Cara something, she just soaked it up. Oh, I can do that, she would say, and she'd run right out and do it.
Yeah.
So, Colleen, did you have a writing mentor when you were starting?
That's probably why I have such a heart for aspiring writers. It took me a year to write my first book, 6 more years to sell it. And in that time, I never even knew another writer. So I always call that my wandering in the wilderness. And it was just painful. You know, I didn't know if I was doing anything right. I didn't know if that dream would ever come to fruition. I had no clue if what I was doing would ever see the light of day. And so I really like that part. And I'm just a mom. That's all I can say. I'm just a mom. Sometimes I smother them a little too much, but.
Oh, yeah, we love it.
So tell us about your new releases.
My newest is Cry in the Night. It's a new Rock Harbor novel, and it's been on the bestseller list 2 months in a row, which I'm thrilled about. So I kept having a lot of people email me asking me if I was going to have more Rock Harbor novels come out, and at the moment, at that time, I thought, I'm done, I'm going to move on to something else, but people just loved that search and rescue dog, and they loved Bree and kept asking for more, and so Bree kind of whispered a new story in my ear, and I wrote it.
And people are loving it because it's really good.
And how about you, Cara?
Well, my next novel that's coming out is A Promise Kept, which releases in June, I think it is. And that's the first in my Ohio World War II series. And it's the one that Colleen calls my women's fiction, married romance, historical novel. So I've tried to do all kinds of different things with it, but it's a fun one that has a child who's evacuated from London and comes to live with a family in Ohio, which actually several thousand children actually did that during the war. But then it deals with romance from a different side because of the fact that they're married from the beginning.
That's good, because that's not easy to do.
It wasn't easy to write.
It's not easy to sell.
Yeah.
And she really loves World War II stuff, and we were just talking today how she was looking through some old magazines, you know, and this interesting stuff that only another writer would really catch that it was interesting. She was talking about leg makeup and how they would actually like pencil in the line on the back of the to make it look like hosiery back
how funny.
in the war days. So it's all that interesting kind of stuff, but she loves those little details.
Yeah. And then my next suspense comes out in October, so I'm working on edits on that right now.
And so what I'm now pushing her toward doing is writing something that is tying her love of suspense, legal suspense, in with her love of history.
Yep.
So I'd really like to see her, combine those two, because I think nobody else is doing it, and I think it would be a really powerful story.
Yeah, so now I've just got to brainstorm that one.
Yeah.
Say, yes, Mom.
That's right.
So how do you find the time to mentor when you have deadlines and?
I don't have the time, but I take the time. A lot of times I look at my schedule for the day and I think I don't have time for this today, but I always just do it, and somehow the Lord multiplies the hours. And I'm sure you feel the same way when you're writing on deadline. You've got kids at home. She has 3 kids at home and
Yeah,
little ones, plus homeschools. I don't know how you do it.
it's called No Sleep.
Cara, how are you giving back to others? You've been mentored. How are you passing it on or paying it forward, or, well, not paying it
Yeah.
forward, but
Yeah, no, I think it's actually really important, and I think I kind of have Colleen's type of personality where, I don't walk into a room and see a crowd of strangers, I see a bunch of friends.
Yeah.
And so I love coming to things like this because it's an opportunity to reconnect with people, and like this spring, I've got several people that I'm trying to encourage on their journey to writing, so we got together and did brainstorming so that I could feed into their lives and yours and try and help you guys get your books done. My involvement in ACFW and trying to get those chapters started. All of those kinds of things are ways to try and help other people find the support that I've been so blessed to have.
So what would you suggest a new writer who is desiring this type of relationship do? Is there anything they
Okay.
can do?
1, 2, 3. American Christian fiction writers.
That's right. I should have said that with you. What I was about to say, ACFW is fabulous for finding a critique partner and a mentor. The best place to do that is at the conference.
Yeah.
I mean, because there's nothing like that face-to-face contact. Something magical happens. And
I don't know that we would have had the relationship that we did
we hadn't actually
initially if it
met.
hadn't been that face-to-face.
Yeah, it's really important.
Yeah.
And that networking carries you through your entire career. Like you mentioned, I've written 35 books. I have been with Thomas Nelson since 2002, and I don't have any plans to ever leave. I love Thomas Nelson. But I wouldn't be there today, even though I had written 18 books for Barber, if it wasn't that I had met Amy McConnell face-to-face at Mount Hermon's Christian Writers Conference. There's something magical that happens that when you actually look eyeball to eyeball with somebody, and you see if you have that connection.
Yeah.
It's just really important.
And when's the next ACFW conference?
It's the third weekend in September, and it will be in Denver, Colorado this year. Donald Moss, who is a huge New York City agent,
Writing the breakout novel.
will be the early bird, and then we've got just a fantastic lineup of speakers.
Debbie May Comer is our
It's the keynote
speaker this year.
And then
So-
agents and editors are there, and so it's a great opportunity just to meet. I would not have the contracts I have, except for one, but for going to the American Christian Fiction Writers Conference.
That's right. It's awesome.
Has there been what's been the most difficult part of this journey, the writing journey? Both journeys are totally different.
For me, it's probably been the fact that I did it so much alone. I had the encouragement of my awesome husband, but there was just no real encouragement from other authors, and it was tough to get. The rejection is hard, and it's hard to hear. We internalize so much of that rejection that we might get from our story, and really, it's not a rejection of you as a person. It's just that particular story isn't working for that particular house.
At that
And-
particular time.
At that particular time.
Yep, there it
And sometimes it's hard to understand that and to get past that rejection, because there were many times that I wanted to just forget it. Just forget it all,
And
that
aren't
I
you
couldn't
glad
do
you
it.
didn't?
Yeah, that's right.
It's some of that endurance. I think for me, it's actually the letting go. And this has been a journey where I can't control anything. The only thing I can control is putting my butt in the chair and typing the stories that God gives me. And that's all I can control. Everything else, I just have to trust God with. I need to be available. I need to be at the places I need to be to meet the people I need to meet. But I can't control when that next contract's coming. And so just being able to trust that God has it all under control is a challenge for a type A personality.
Yeah,
She's a type AA.
that's good. Is there anything else you'd like to share? Any advice?
The main advice I always tell people is to find some kind of support system and go to conferences. And you could do both those things through ACFW. So, we're
Yeah.
big believers in that. We think that has been a great benefit to so many people.
Absolutely. I would just second that. If you're serious about pursuing writing, then you need to join American Christian Fiction Writers, www.acfw.com. And even if you don't get to come to a conference, you will get online support, you'll get connected with other people. And it's just amazing, because I always thought my brain just worked differently from everybody else, and then I realized, no, that's how God designed it so that I can look at the world as a writer. But it was only when I got around other writers that I went, oh,
I'm not so weird.
strange.
That's all only other writers understand.
Exactly. So that would be the best advice I can give somebody.
Great.
And the other one is sit down and write.
Yeah.
Even if you write 500 words a day, in a year you'll have a book. You can talk about writing, but unless you actually sit down and do it, you're never going to have a book that you can try and sell.
That's right.
Thank you guys for
Well,
being
thanks
here.
so much, Gina. We enjoyed it. It's been very fun.